Here's a tweet from Amber Jamison. I spoke to the 3 women who all separately called out Harvey Weinstein last night after he turned up to an event for young performers. One was booed on stage, another kicked out, and the last called a cunt by Weinstein's buddy.
Dozens of women have come forward with allegations of sexual assault against Weinstein, and he will stand trial in January over a rape allegation. He denies these allegations. Kelly Bachman is one of the performers who called him out. Take a look at that moment.
I'm feeling a little tense. Anybody else?
Yeah.
I'm a comic. And it's our job to name the elephant in the room. Do we know what that is? Yeah, it's Freddy Krueger in the room, if you will. I didn't know that we have to bring our own maze and rape whistles to Actors Hour, y'all. No? No? Oh, shut up. Yeah. This kills at group therapy for rape survivors. They love it. Yeah. Yeah, I have been raped, surprisingly, by no one in this room, but I've never gotten to confront those guys, so just a general fuck you to whoever
Yes, girl!
Kelly joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
We are so glad to be talking to you about this. So walk us through the night. At what point did you realize that Weinstein was actually in the room?
That would be when I walked into the venue. He was sitting at a table with his friends, and I did a double take, triple take, and then asked everybody around me, is that really Harvey Weinstein? And people said yes. And then I, after that, was very triggered and sort of shut down for a little bit and decided to figure out what to do about it.
And as you were considering what to do next, you know, walking to a space, seeing someone like Weinstein there, what was going through your mind as you thought about calling him out? And what did you want to happen after you called him out?
Right. I was firstly thinking that I really wanted to tape my 10-minute set. I had a new set that I knew they were filming the event, and I really wanted to get a new tape. So I remember when I first got there, before I saw him, I was saying to myself, like, don't forget not to, don't riff on politics or like talk to the audience or get distracted, like do all your jokes for the tape. And then I saw him, and my first thought was like, oh, it's going to ruin my tape. It's like, man. So my friend next to me said, don't worry about him. Just do your tape. Like, don't let him take that from you. Like, say the jokes you meant to say. And I was half debating whether to do that or whether I needed to say something. And then I was thinking, what would I say? And I was very panicked. I was really in a state of being fully triggered. So I asked women around me that were in the audience, I was like, do I need to say something? I asked a woman next to me, that's Harvey Weinstein. Like, I need to say something, right? And she looked at me and was like, no, don't say anything. And I was like, okay, I definitely need to say something. So I didn't know what that would be. I have a couple of jokes around my own experiences. So I was hoping I could, my own experiences with sexual assault. So I was thinking I could try to get those jokes out. And I got on stage and I felt so triggered that I really struggled to say anything at all. I was worried I was going to say nothing. And I wanted to go so much harder. I wanted to say more. And I just said as much as I could. And I didn't fully get through the joke that, I thought I might tell before I got into my set. And I remember thinking, I wish I had said more. Like, I just wished I had been more funny. Like, all night I was beating myself up about it. So I was really shocked when everybody said good job.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the reaction. I mean, someone in the room told you not to talk about it, and now people have really been lauding you on Twitter and in the media for doing this. What has the response been like?
It's been very overwhelming. It's been difficult to fully absorb it all, but essentially, I woke up yesterday. Well, I didn't really sleep on Wednesday night, and I was sort of in this like triggered episode all night of freaking out. And so the next morning I saw that my friend Amber had posted about what happened, and a lot of comics that I know were coming to my defense and supporting me and congratulating me for doing, a good job, which just felt really validating to hear the support of the comedy community. And then when it expanded from there to where now every time I open my phone, it's just a flood of messages of people saying thank you or saying something kind to me. For some reason, people just started Venmoing me, and I don't know why. It's like really overwhelming, but it's very overwhelmingly positive also. So it sort of has kept me out of the shame spiral that comes with vulnerability when you're dealing trauma.
For sure. For sure. And what's so striking to me when I was watching this video last night is that you share with the audience that you are a survivor of sexual assault. And that seems to be what was motivating you to speak out in that moment against Weinstein. What does it feel like to feel that the onus had to be on you in that moment as a survivor to speak for survivors?
Right. So when I realized, I was in this situation, I kept thinking back to this moment in April 2018. I produced this comedy show called Rape Jokes by Survivors. And it was a show in Lower East Side where I booked a dozen or so comics who identify as survivors of sexual assault, and they all told jokes about their experiences. And I brought them up on stage, and I wasn't the host of the show, I was producing the show. But it was this really important night in my life, and it got a lot of attention itself, not this level, but it was such a beautiful moment of community and of women being united on stage. And I thought back to that moment, and I really felt sort of a duty to those women to say something, because I remembered us all laughing on stage together at the end of that show. And this was the opposite of that night. The air was sucked out of the room. I saw this person surrounded by his friends and a room of people that I did not expect to support me. And it was very hard to say something. I didn't feel like I could just hammer off jokes and roasts, or I didn't feel like I was going to be able to get much out. But I really thought about that night at Rape Jokes by Survivors, and I really felt like this, it almost felt like a test. Like, you need to say something. Like, if you put that together, here's your chance. Say something. And, it was not easy to say something, but I knew that I would feel worse if I did not, based on my own experiences. So.
I was certainly surprised to read that Weinstein showed up at a show, especially one for young performers. What do you want to see happen with Weinstein?
I would like to see him have his trial, and for justice to be served for as many alleged victims. So I think it's going to be difficult for with so many victims, it's difficult to imagine what justice looks like, but I hope that they find peace through whatever happens.
Well, Kelly, we really appreciate you taking the time and to open up about what seemed like a really upsetting event the other night. We really appreciate it. Hope you get some time to decompress. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.